In this spooky episode of Pop Culture Weekly, it's Halloween. I talk with Michael Myers himself, Nick Castle, and Ray herself from the galaxy far, far away, Daisy Ridley. Let's go.
Welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon from iHeartRadio. Your pop culture news, views, reviews, and celebrity interviews on all the movies, TV, music, and pop culture you crave weekly. Here's Kyle McMahon.
Hello and welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon. I, of course, am Kyle McMahon, and it is another October episode. That means Halloween. You know, that's my favorite day of the year. It's my favorite time of the year. I love horror. I love spooky season. And this month, I feel like we've been bringing all the great, spooky people out, spooky content, horror movies, thrillers, just, getting it all up. Last episode, we had Bruce Campbell, who's so amazing. We talked about Hysteria and Teacup, which is this terrifying series on Peacock. It's just been, and Caddo Lake, the M. Night Shyamalan produced film that I talked with Dylan O'Brien and Eliza Scanlon. Such great content. And this episode is no different. I talk with the Shape himself, the original OG, Michael Myers. Yes, I talk with Nick Castle all about Halloween, which is out in theaters right now with a couple of the sequels as well. And then I talk with Daisy Ridley. Yes, Daisy Ridley. I talk about her brand new film called Magpie, which is really, really, really creepy and really, really, really good. You're going to love it. But we'll talk about that in a moment. First up, let's get right into my interview with the one and only Nick Castle, who gives us a very cool exclusive on the future of the Halloween franchise. Here he is, Nick Castle. So is this like your busy time of the year? I mean, obviously you're busy all year, but is this like an insane time for you?
Well, I'm not busy all year. I'm a retired motion picture director, writer, and having a wonderful time in retirement. But nonetheless, what I do is go to a lot of horror conventions, fan conventions, and especially this time of year is very popular. Over the last 8 weeks, I've gone to 6 different cities just to talk to the fans, and they have a blast with this character, signing autographs and masks and knives and all kinds of stuff. So I have the pleasure and the privilege of being an ambassador for John's movie and for a lot of the other films that have been spawned by this character.
Yeah, I mean, Halloween is such an iconic film, the franchise. I'm a huge horror fan. I'm a huge Halloween fan. Halloween is my favorite. It's the OG for me. What is it like to be, you are the Shape, Michael Myers. What is it like to be that character in a film that has just through decades endured?
Well, it's pretty funny, actually. I find it ironic because, what I'll be remembered for is this movie after having done a dozen movies or writing another 3 or 4. But it's so much fun because you get to meet the fans at these conventions, and that's how I know how beloved in its own strange way this character is. Meeting people that actually are affected by this, that their first movie was Halloween, or their first horror movie, where they sat down with their parents and watched it, and they remember it fondly for that. So it's almost like a family affair. And, of course, it happens every year. It was brilliantly, titled Halloween. So every year around this time, you're reminded not only of the season, but of this little movie that was done so well that you don't mind going back to it over and over again.
Yeah. And for you, over these decades, when you look back, 1977, 1978, did you ever think that this was going to, that you'd be talking about it 40 some years later?
Absolutely not. At the time, this was a little film that you hoped would get, decent distribution, and that you hoped John would get another job from. That's what I was hoping. and within the year, it was the largest grossing independent film of all time, and especially for the budget was a crazy reality. And so, no idea.
And you've talked about, you've talked about the film so much. Is there anything that, is little known about, a little known fact about the film that you haven't maybe been asked about or haven't discussed?
Oh, dear. Yes, folks like you have mined pretty much everything out of this brain. The one thing I like to remind people of is the partnership that John had with Deborah Hill, the producer and co-writer of the picture, was no small part in making this thing a reality and making it so good. She helped work with the young actresses on the set, and like I said, co-wrote it with him, and was a tremendous talent. Died too young and didn't get to have as much of the fun of these last decades of how the movie has grown in fan base exponentially. It seems almost year after year. So it's just a reminder to folks that there was a woman involved with this show that had a lot to do with its success.
I love that so much. And, Halloween is playing right now in nearly 800 theaters across the country. It's not every movie that gets a re-release, like that, especially decades later. For you also did the thing that I love about, a franchise like Halloween is that then you have different takes on it. Rob Zombie did a take on it, and then the recent trilogy from David Gordon Green, which you were in. Do you enjoy seeing the different, and then there's books and games and comic books and all that. Do you enjoy seeing the different kind of creative takes on the franchise?
Oh, yes. I mean, I in fact, I wouldn't mind seeing more of them. I'd love to see a film, do an episode each from a great filmmaker to do their own Michael Myers, like Rob tried and did. And David Gordon Green, he came up with the concepts of doing a 40 years later one and how to approach it. I thought that was magnificently done. And then talking about artistic endeavors, there are even books now of people that have done artwork that include the movie or the character that are just spectacular, that are beautifully done. So the movie has inspired a lot of artists, and you can see it in when I go, especially when I go to these conventions where people will bring posters of things that people have made out of from their homes. There's just spectacular work, and it's really quite remarkable.
Yeah, for sure. And do you happen to have any idea where is there talk of a bringing another film out?
Oh yeah, I spoke to Malik Akkad, who is the owner of the franchise. Oh, they're busy trying to figure out the next iteration. And of course, I think he's talked about having a relationship with Miramax, and they're thinking maybe TV might be the next step. I don't know what that means exactly, but that might be the next time you see the Halloween world pop out.
I love that. And originally, wasn't John's original idea was to do like each year it wouldn't be necessarily Michael Myers, but it would be a different story taking place on Halloween. Is that true?
That was true. In fact, the third iteration of Halloween that John did was Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, which didn't have Michael Myers, had a great story. At the time, it didn't work for the audience because the promotion of it didn't really explain that this wasn't Michael Myers. So everyone was disappointed when they went to see it, or many people were. And now, years and years and years later, having, that behind him, that movie, directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, is a big fan favorite. So, yeah, I think if you promoted it right, an anthology series about using John as the mastermind of the series and promoting it and shaping it, would be a great way of telling the stories again.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe that ties in with a television type thing, and then you have Michael Myers, whatever, each season finale or something.
Hey, there you go. I think we may steal that idea from you.
It's yours. I just want more Halloween content. Nick, you've done so much work. August Rush is a personal favorite. I love that film. It's such a meditation for me, I believe, in music and film and familial ties. Do you find, you've done such varied work. Do you find that as an artist, that's kind of, what kept you going for so long, that you were able to do a Halloween and then an August Rush and a Mr. Wrong and that sort of thing?
Well, sometimes you make your career and sometimes your career makes you.
Mm-hmm.
For John, for instance, he was very clear about producing a John Carpenter movie. For me, it was like, it wasn't as easy as, not that it was easy, but it didn't fall that way. It was like, who had the best script, what studio wanted to hire me, things of that nature, so that, you get this kind of eclectic, career that I've had a ball with. So it's not formed into, that the kind of world that John was able to create. But it's a world that I've enjoyed every minute of, and had some great luck with doing films that I generated from my own little brain to motion pictures that were handed to me that I just love the idea of. So I've been lucky, and now in retirement, I can look back and just promote my friends' movies like this.
I love that so much. Nick, thank you so much. People can go to HalloweenPortal.com and get all of the information, and they can go, like me, and go see Halloween and a few of the sequels as well in theaters on the big screen. Thank you so much, Nick. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, and happy Halloween to the folks there.
Thank you, sir. You as well. Nick Castle. I can't believe I talked to Michael Myers. This has been like a dream this month. Bruce Campbell, last episode. Michael Myers, Nick Castle, this episode. Just so awesome. I'm like living my dream, and you guys make it happen, and I appreciate that and love that from you and for me. Thank you. It's awesome because he directed also like The Last Starfighter, which is such a great movie, and Dennis the Menace, which was hilarious. That came out in 93, and it had Walter Matthau and Christopher Lloyd in it. Like, what a cast. Natasha Lyonne, Leah Thompson. So anyway, all right, we're going to take a super short break. So hang out here with me and support our sponsors who make this show happen. I will see you in 60. All right. Thank you for hanging out with me and supporting our sponsors who make this show happen every single week and bring you amazing interviews like Nick Castle, Michael freaking Myers, and this next interview, who I am so excited about. My next guest has captivated audiences around the globe with her incredible talent and charisma. She has empowered people, especially women and girls, around the galaxy with her breakout role as Rey in the blockbuster Star Wars sequel trilogy. And she's proven herself to be a force to be reckoned with in Hollywood and beyond. And her new film, Magpie, is an incredible, twisty, turny Hitchcockian thriller that she conceived of herself and now stars in. Let's talk with Daisy Ridley. So, first of all, Daisy, thank you so much for speaking with me. I really appreciate it. Magpie is so good. I love it.
Thank you.
Of course. So tell me about, from my understanding, this film came from you. The idea for it came while you were filming something else, which I think is so meta, especially with the film itself. How did that come about for you?
So the actual original idea was a little different to where Tom ended up taking it. The original idea was if an actress is away from home and destabilized by something and does not have the solidity of sort of a bedrock of something keeping her feeling calm. I mean, being away filming anyway, even with all of those things and the stability can be very strange and very isolating, and often you're away from home. So the original concept was, what would an actress do if she became so in love with the child that was playing her child, she tried to infiltrate that family. So that was the original idea. And when Tom started working on it, he just said he felt really more drawn to the woman at home, who is the person who isn't able to go and have this amazing experience on set where these intimate bonds are formed incredibly quickly and everything feels exciting and fresh. And who is she and how is she coping with the feeling of being the other woman in terms of her child? And then, of course, coupled with that, her husband has a wandering eye. Yeah.
And this kind of incubates with you, and you decide, there's something here that I want to do with it. So you took it to a producer friend of yours, and it kind of blossomed from there, right?
Yeah, so me and Tom had already started spitballing, and he had actually written, he wrote incredibly quickly because we were so excited about the idea, and particularly when he started working on it. And I knew his writing anyway. I've read a lot of his other scripts, which are beautiful. So we pitched it to Kate, who I produced the movie with. And she was very interested. And then away we went. So things, shifted as we went. But certainly the idea was there. And then we knew we wanted a killer ending. And then Tom really sculpted that because there had to be enough layers between everyone, and you had to believe those relationships, and you had to care about these people and what happened in order for us to pull that off. So all of that was built by him.
I love that. And part of what I love is it's so, in its own way, Hitchcockian almost. And I'm a huge Hitchcock fan. Are you a Hitchcock fan? And does that kind of play into when you're doing, different projects, especially when you're producing and you're so involved in the development of, is that something like, conscious for you? Like, I want to kind of do something in this vein or that vein.
Well, we had inspirations from the beginning. One was Tully, this amazing film with Charlize Theron. We had seen Homecoming, the show with Julia Roberts, with that very claustrophobic zoom. So there had been references anyway. And me and Tom really wanted to make the sort of film and we all love all sorts of films, but something that we would really want to see. So the genre feeling and that noir feeling was something we always wanted. But we were also incredibly lucky to have Sam Yates come on board as director and Laura Bellingham come on as DOP. And we had talked about Hitchcock, and Sam's big inspiration was John Demme. And a big reference was Silence of the Lambs. And so when you have amazing people who you trust, our production designer, Amanda McCarthy, just phenomenal. So because we had this amazing crew, I was able to sit back and then be blown away by the work that they were doing. And of course, we were all involved in those conversations. But the minute they started spitballing their ideas together and they did the shot list and how they were going to capture it, it was just brilliant. And even on set, watching scenes come together, before they're edited, before anything, the way Laura was capturing everything was so gorgeous and gives that feeling of what is going on. We're seeing things that we shouldn't be seeing, and we're not seeing things that we should be seeing. Where's that line, and where's the line between what's real and what's not? But really, so much of that is down to Laura.
And for you, I'm not sure, often for those watching or listening, films and projects are filmed out of order, and I'm trying to be as spoiler-free as possible. Is it hard for you, and I would assume that's a little bit easier for you since you were involved since the beginning, but is it hard for you as you're filming when you're doing sequences out of order to kind of be like, okay, Annette is in this space for this scene, and then she's in that space for that scene? You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Certainly we did the first chunk of the shoot was all in the house, but we did it as chronologically as possible. So even within the house, she has an emotional journey of that real claustrophobic feeling at the beginning. And then the end of the movie where she's a lot more calm and she is holding the cards at that point. So there were moments where I can't remember what scene we did a big leap. We went from scene 50 to scene 90. I thought, but also again to Sam's credit, I mean, we talked before every scene about where Annette was, and having a director you really trust is fantastic, because I also wasn't watching the dailies of myself. I was only watching the other people do scenes because that was something I felt would be too difficult. So when you trust people and are like, is this coming across? Is this the right thing? Yeah. So there was one time where it was a bit of a leap and I thought, oof, okay. Annette is slightly different here. But the amazing thing is too, she is never broken. She's really beaten and really bruised emotionally, but she's never broken. And the strength, and we meet her and Ben in a difficult time. We never see them as they were. We come into their relationship mid-difficulty. So we had already established that. And from there, I mean, things get worse for Annette before they get better. But she always maintains that she has her kids to think about, and they're really the motivation for her drive. And because as well, they had these beautiful kids to film with, and Hibba particularly, who plays Matilda, her little face was such a drive for me too, that kept me centered in it all as well. I
love that. And finally, and I've asked Robert Pattinson this, and I've asked Daniel Radcliffe this, when you do such an iconic character in a giant franchise like Ray, and then you go and do these projects that are on the opposite kind of scale, is that super fulfilled? Like I feel like, as a creator, obviously I'm not an actor, but I feel like as a creator, it kind of like checks all these marks in the fact that like I can go and do this giant project, and then that affords me to go and do kind of anything I want. Do you find that true for you?
In terms of being afforded the privilege, absolutely. Because I also know without the bigger films, it would be more difficult to make the smaller films, which is just the truth of it. But it's interesting in terms of approach. I feel the same in approaching every role. And it's certainly different going from shooting 140 days to shooting for 23 days. Right. But I feel really genuinely blessed with the people that I've got to work with. And ultimately, art is art, whether it's you make big movie that's going to be seen on an IMAX, or a smaller movie that you hope will connect with people. Either way, you hope that the emotional story will connect. Either way, you hope the vista of it all will connect. So in terms of approach, it doesn't change, but my hope always is, that I become a better actor each time, to be honest too, but also that each film, even if it means something to one person, whether it means something to 100 people or one person, that one person is as important. So the hope would always be that whatever it is I'm making connects in some way.
I love that so much, Daisy. It connected with me. I can't wait till it comes out so I can talk about it with people. Magpie exclusively coming out in theaters. I can't wait for everybody to see it. Thank you, Daisy.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks. Daisy Ridley. I cannot believe that I talked with Ray. Daisy Ridley. Ray. Star Wars The Force Awakens, Star Wars The Last Jedi, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Daisy Ridley, people. Daisy freaking Ridley. I'm like pinching myself. And this episode I also talked with Nick Castle, Michael Myers himself. Like, what is going on in my life? I love you guys for being with me and supporting me. Watch the videos if you want. The video version of the interviews are up on the website and Facebook and all that good stuff. Keep tuned in with the podcast, obviously. We're going to be doing some cool giveaways coming up soon, just in time for the holidays, and so much more coming to you, all because of you, and I love you for that. All right. I will see you next week. I love you. We out.
Thank you for listening to Pop Culture Weekly. Hear all the latest at popcultureweekly.com.
Ray,